So hello and welcome to an episode of Adventure Bike Pilot. I'm here on the canal here, just on the outskirts of Naas. As I mentioned in my previous videos, the last couple of videos, I've ordered some stuff to be put onto the bike, and I have to go down to Overlanders to get it put on. As I mentioned in my last video, it's an odd one. I was going to probably, even though I've ordered all this stuff, I was probably going to leave it until January or so to go down and get it fitted on to see if all these lockdowns and COVID was going to get any better. And for the moment, the lockdown is better in terms of the movement. You can move around county to county temporarily, but the numbers have been absolutely exploding. So from what I understand, basically from Christmas Eve, we're pretty much going to go back into a level 5 lockdown, which will be our third level 5, but it's about, for Kildare anyway, it's about our 4th or 5th lockdown in total. And it's just, I'm just sick of it now. I'm sick of it. I just want it done. As I said, I'm just getting my vaccine as soon as possible and be done with this. So that's the plan. So we're going to get down here now, get all these bits and bobs on. He said it'll take about 2.5 hours, so I'll be here from 2 till about 4:30. I've got my mask and my hand gel and the sanitizing gel and fucking everything else you can think of. I'm gonna just tuck me away in a corner and mind my own business while I get the work done, and then blast it home. I'll probably take the motorway home because it's going to be pitch dark by the time I get home. Now the beauty of that is it gives me a chance to try out the Denali, so that'll be great. So just to give you an idea of what I'm getting done today, as I mentioned, Denali's, I'm getting the Denali D4 front spotlights put on. And they're an unbelievably powerful 4 LED spotlight that should go on in addition to the existing spotlights, but they're much more powerful. They also have a strobe effect if you're doing any kind of marshalling or if you're in an emergency situation. And then because I'm getting the front one, I'm also getting the additional backlight, the tail light. Because if you do use the strobe, I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think the tail light will also strobe when the front ones are strobing. Plus it gives extra visibility for your braking and tail light, fog and all of that, so much more safety both on the front and the back. And because they're Denali's, I'm getting the Denali Smartcan CAN bus wiring loom to get so that they plug in and all the functionality of it works perfectly with the bike. It's a plug and play. That'll allow me to go in via my laptop and change the settings on the lights and their functionality and all of that quite easily. And then the thing that started this all off is the Denali sound bomb, which is an upgrade to the stock horn on this bike, although the horn on this isn't too bad, better than some bikes, but it's just a little bit feeble. And for additional safety, I thought I'd put on the sound bomb. But it's 120 decibels, sounds more like a freight train than anything, because if a car is cutting across you on a dual carriageway or something like that, you want something to really let them know you're there, because you'll often find cars will just keep coming across even when you're beeping, because the horn on these is quite feeble, like on most motorbikes. But they'll take notice of a Denali sound bomb, that's for sure. I'm also getting cylinder head covers put on, because I've got a little mark on one of the covers from the first week I bought the bike and she blew over in the wind. So the new cylinder covers will both cover the old little mark and prevent any new ones getting onto the actual cylinder head. And I think they look good as well. And then I'm having a an SAE cable attached to the battery that will pop out just underneath the rider seat. And the reason for that is because of if you remember, I swapped out the power socket on the dash of the motorbike for a double USB port. But then shortly after that I realised then that the little tyre inflator that I had is the only accessory that plugs into it, but it's an important one, because if you have a puncture you'll need to re-inflate the tyre, and those things are very handy. So after a bit of homework I thought then the best solution to do would be to get a new tyre inflator that has an SAE connector, and then run an SAE cable off the battery, so that anytime I need to use the tyre inflator I can just connect it to the cable underneath the battery really easily, just as easily as I would to the power socket. That also gives me the added benefit is that I have an SAE cable there that I can run a power optimizer to the battery, you know, a trickle charger or a smart charger, so the bike can be charging over the winter, which is phenomenal. So to be honest with you, I think that's the perfect setup. A double USB port up here, an SAE cable coming out, and that allows you to connect multiple different types of pieces of kit to the bike. I think it's the perfect configuration. I don't understand why BMW aren't doing that as standard. Makes perfect sense to me. Where am I going? I'm turning up here. And then I've one or two other things then I'm getting done. I'll just take this junction. I'm having the power cable, seeing as they're going to be in at the battery, because the battery on these bikes actually is pretty deeply hidden. It's not as easy as the old bikes to get to. So I thought, well, while they're in there, I could take the opportunity to have them to fit the power cable for the quad lock charger, so that this quad lock thing that holds my phone now becomes a powered quad lock, and my phone will be charging literally as it's sitting there in that dock. And that means that the phone won't actually take up the other two USB ports. Although other than the phone I can't think of anything else I'd be using the USB ports for, but look, it's nice to have them. Why is this guy driving so slowly? So that'll be that done, and then finally, hopefully if he has time, the little barrel locks that are on my new Touratech, well, I suppose they're not new anymore, 10 months I've had them now, I suppose. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, those barrel locks are ever since I first got them, they've been very sticky. One of them is very sticky and almost nearly break the key trying to lock it or open it. And I just don't think they're set properly, so I'll have him have a look at them. If he can just reset them properly, great. If not, well, then he can give me a brand new set, because this is where I bought them and they don't work. So that'll be the litany of work that's getting done today, and I might actually buy a new trickle charger specifically for this bike as well, because I have one that's on the Blackbird, and I had originally thought, well, I'll just go out and swap them over once a week or so, you know, but oh sure, I'm spending so much bloody money on this stuff, I might as well, you know, not penny pinch and buy the additional power adapter or power charger, and just have the two of them charging on the go. But yeah, so then that'll be interesting to see all this kit. And what I'll do is then maybe over the Christmas period when I've got little or nothing to do, I hope, I'll do a small review on each of the items individually. So the lights, the cylinder head covers, and so on and so on. So we're down in Bolton Glass now, making good time now ever since I got past Nace. It's a nice town actually, Bolton Glass. Look at a big old abbey or something over there. But it's getting colder now. My dash started flashing at me there now. It's saying that it's only 3 degrees now. Little snowflake icon has come up to tell me that there's a danger of ice. So I definitely think it's probably just as well I didn't go up into the mountains, because if it's only 3 degrees down here, it would be very cold up there with a high chance of ice. I think everything has a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, so this is Denali village. Nice little village. I don't think we're too far now. We're 24 kilometers out from the Overlanders. Oh, and I've a few things I need to ask the lads when I'm down here now. I don't know if you're Irish and you've ever used the Overlanders service. It's a fantastic service. I've used it a good few times now to get them to take the bike from home, and they'll deliver it over to a place called Memmingen in Germany, not too far south of Munich, but only about an hour's ride from the Alps. So they'll take your bike and all your gear, load it onto a truck and send it out about a week ahead of you. And then you just get a cheapo flight to Memmingen, and you literally walk off the plane and you walk to a depot about 5-10 minutes away, and your bike and all your gear is sitting there ready waiting for you in a lockup. Just let yourself in, grab your gear, and off you go. It's a very reasonable, very cheap. Much like if you're going for more than a week to Spain or the Alps or somewhere like that, it's cheaper than it is renting one of these. Like a GS 1250 is anywhere from about 130, 140 euros a day to rent, but you can get one of these over, I'm sure the price has changed, for around 650, 700 quid. So it makes financial sense then to just ship it over with the lads and then have it ready to rock when you're going. Have your own bike over there. It's actually I think it's much better. But I believe they also run a service to Oslo in Norway. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but there's a small chance, a possibility, might end up doing the Nordkapp trip. It's a bucket list trip I've always wanted to do. It's a big one, about, I don't know, somewhere between, depending on the route, 8 to 10,000 miles. But drive all the way up to Nordkapp, which is the most northerly point of Europe. And it's well into the Arctic Circle. It's I suppose Europe's version of Prudhoe Bay in Alaska. So there is a slim chance that I might be doing that in 2021. Obviously it's dependent on COVID and all of that fun stuff, but if I had the vaccine there shouldn't be an issue. And that's why I'm so keen to get it. But Overlanders, I believe, also have a depot in Oslo. But I don't see it on their schedule, so I need to confirm that with them. Because I originally had planned to drive, literally just drive out of the house, cut across England, take the, you know, the Eurotunnel over to France, and then just make my way over. There was a couple of different ways you could make your cut your way across the top of Europe into Latvia and Estonia, and then do St. Petersburg in Russia, and then head up through Finland, which would be incredible, but it adds an awful lot of time into it, and mileage and cost. And then, or you could just cut up into Denmark and barrel their way up through Sweden. Which way am I going here? And all the way up. Now, most people do it so that they get up there they just get up there as quick as possible, but then take their time coming down through the west coast and all the fjords of Norway, which would be my plan. But I don't want it to exceed about 4, at most maybe 5 weeks, because it's already stupid money. So you know, every week you're there, you're adding in a huge amount of cost, because apparently Norway is off the Richter scale expensive. So my original plan, as I said, was to drive all the way up and then drive all the way back. But that was looking like it might take maybe 6 weeks or more, even, depending on what I did, because I don't want to rush it either. I don't want to totally barrel all the way across it. So then I thought, well, why don't I get Overlanders to ship the bike to Norway, to Oslo, fly in there, and that would chop a huge section of Europe off, because I've been to Europe a million times. And then I could go from Oslo up to Nordkapp, but then drive all the way home. So I could easily knock, I don't know, maybe 2,000 miles and somewhere in the region of a week off the original trip, which would be ideal. Because I've only limited amount of time and funds that I can do it in. If I was like Itchy Boots and could take my time, I'd drive all the way up. But I don't. So yeah, a very, very slim chance that I might do that. So that's what I need to talk to the chaps about today, and find out what the schedule is, and if they do definitely do that. Right, I'll push on. We've only got what, 15 kilometers to go, nearly there. Jesus, it's a long way down. I think I said, I thought in my head, less than an hour, but it is a long way down. Anyway, talk to you shortly. Right, so we made it. Even though all my plans ended up in the toilet, it was actually a longer trip down than I was expecting, and I came pretty direct, with the exception of motorways. But yeah, so now it's a long 2.5 hour sit down and wait here while all this work gets done. For you, it'll be seconds. For me, I've got an awful lot of YouTubing to be watching, sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Nice tray. I like those colours, the black and the blue on the tracer. Africa Twin, always looking good. Right. So yeah, new set of Denali's. The horn, and then we'll get the covers for here. We'll see what the bike is like when she comes out. You know, I go into my favourite shop, your kidney candy shop in here. Savage. Talk to you shortly.
A few moments later.
There you go. So that's on the switch live now. That's on switch live, so that'll turn off with your ignition after about 5 seconds.
Great.
The high and low beams, of course. You can see the lights go high and low.
Yeah.
You can adjust that in the settings in the little software.
Okay.
How bright each mode is. Your tail light, you can see it there.
Yeah.
She'll flash and then she'll go solid.
Cool.
Is that okay?
Perfect.
Other than that, if you double tap, other than that, give your horn, get a flash with the horn.
Wait, Jason, frightened the bejesus out of me. So did they just go on when I turn on the bottom fogs?
They'll be on immediately, so when you turn your ignition on,
Yeah.
they'll turn on immediately.
Right, and is there a way to turn them off completely?
Turn them off completely, not on this one, no. You can, I think, in the menu set it up to turn off completely.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much, Aaron.
In the heads, of course. Looks the job now, anyway.
Thanks very much. Right, lads. That's it done. You can see the D4s are on. Geez, they're powerful. They might be a bit too powerful. Right. Sorry about that, folks. All you're seeing is blackness, I'm sure. Ooh. But yeah, there's a few things now that I wasn't aware of. So as I've mentioned before, one of the features of these lights is that they have a strobe effect that you could use in either, you know, an emergency situation or a oh, just tell me to go right. Okay, that's it. That's different. In an emergency situation, or if you were marshalling, which sometimes I do. Well, not so much marshalling, but if I'm in the BMW club on a ride out, you could use them in that situation for when you're doing the drop-off system and all that, if you're stopped at a junction holding up traffic. But he was saying that it's apparently illegal to have a strobe effect on your lights in Ireland on a vehicle. I don't know why. I assume maybe it's to do with maybe them thinking you're going to impersonate a policeman or a Gardaí, but these are white. I could understand it if they were blue, but these are white. They're clearly not an emergency service light. But anyway, so he said if I want them on, I'd have to do it myself in the software. But that was a long wait. I thought the job was going to take about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 on the outside, but I got there at 1:45, and it's what? It's 5:45 now. So there's a massive argument there for me to buy. I've been hemming and hawing over getting a trailer for the bike, because then that would have meant I could have just dropped the bike in. For situations like this, I could have just dropped the bike in and left it there and then gone off and done something else instead. But because I'm with the bike, I'd no other bloody transport out, and I'm fully geared up, it meant that I had to stay with the bike. So that was like, what, 3.5 hours or so sat there in a shop, and there's only so much browsing that you can do, of which I did. And of course, as expected, ended up buying more shit. So I bought a little multi-tool, and I also bought a new tank bag. Kind of a controversial tank bag for me, because when I first got this bike, which is the Rally HP, I saw this bag and I thought I'd buy that, but it took nearly 6 months for it to get in, and in that time then I got this little one that I'm using now, the little Jivvy bag. And I thought that might be too small, but actually it worked out perfect. I actually really like this bag. But then when I was sitting there in the shop, they had the HP Colour and Bado XP bag, and it was just so perfect for the bike. I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm in for a penny, in for the pound. So today has cost me an absolute fortune, and if the wife finds out how much I spent today, I will be sleeping in the shed with this bike. So as you can see, I finally got home. It's a couple of days after the ride back from Overlanders. When I got home that night, I just threw the bike into the shed, didn't even bother washing it or looking at it, because it was a stressful enough journey on the way home. And it was coming up right up to Christmas, so it's now past Christmas Day. I think we're on the 28th or something like that, so it's literally the day the new lockdown starts. But yeah, I haven't even looked at the bike since I got it home, so it's still filthy from the ride home in the rain. So apologies for that. What it is that they've put onto the bike and all the bits and bobs that I got put on, and let's have a look at them and see what they did. So here they are here. So these are in addition to the existing auxiliary lights, which are these boys down here. And as you can see, they're quite powerful. As I said, with the the indicator button, if you hold it for 3 seconds, it'll power them off. And if you hold it for 3 seconds again, it will power them back on again. It also has this strobe effect. If I pull the headlight flash trigger, a double click, 1, 2, 3, there you go. That's the strobe effect. It only lasts for a couple of seconds. I don't think there's a way to keep them on permanently. I'll just do it again there. And that will also come on if you beep the horn, so it makes you much more visible to somebody who may be trying to cut across the lane. I won't go into full detail on these because I want to do a review of them by themselves. But they also run in conjunction to these. You can also control the intensity as well through the little spinny wheel on the side. If I can just get that working here. So you can see I can brighten them up or bring them back down again. So yeah, they're extremely powerful. I mean, obviously with the Denali headlights, I felt that it was a good opportunity as well to fit the tail light as well. So I got that installed at the same time. I was afraid that this bag here that I fitted might be covering this light, but it's not too bad. But as a backup, this one is better. It's much brighter as well, and it's configurable. So this is the Denali Smartcan in place. This is the wiring loom. You can see all the wires coming out, connecting up to all the individual lights and to the Denali sound bomb. And then there's a USB connector, a micro USB connector here that allows me to connect the laptop up to that and configure everything to the way that I want it. To be honest with you, I thought this might be a bit of a neater job. So if anyone else has one of these installed on a GS 1250, can you let me know maybe where you had this put, or is this the usual spot that these are normally hidden away in? So yeah, that's the Smartcan. So another item I got fitted was these Touratech cylinder head covers here. And that's just protected if the bike ever falls over, stops the cylinder head itself getting either scratched or cracked or anything. And I think they look really well on the bike as well. So one other item I had him fit was this SAE cable. I don't know why he put it down here. I was expecting him to put it in underneath the saddle. But yeah, so that's there. And the reason I put that in is because I replaced out the power socket that would allow me to plug in a cigarette charger to power a mini compressor for reinforcement. Another thing then that I had them install was the power device here for the back of the quad lock. When I went to install the quad lock, I found that there was an awful lot of fairing and stuff you had to move just to get this cable down to the battery. So because I knew the bike was going to go in and have all that stuff accessed anyway, I waited to have the professionals do it, and so they've wired this up. So now my phone will connect in here and it will get powered as I go. So now I have the phone powered as I ride through here. I have 2 backup USB ports here, and then the SAE cable down below as I just showed. So overall, I'm really happy with the stuff that's in it now that I know how it works. But now that I know how to operate them, I'm absolutely delighted with them. I cannot emphasize enough how powerful these lights are. They're incredible. They make the stock headlight look like a cheap torch. It didn't come across in the camera because I forgot to swap out the Polar Pro ND filter I had on my GoPro. So it's like wearing a pair of shades at night on the camera, so it literally didn't pick up any of the light or the power of them. But believe me, I'll try and do another video, but there's loads of videos out there showing you the power of these things. They are absolutely incredible. If you're caught on a back road or up in the mountains where there's no lights or anything like that, these things will be unbelievably much better in terms of safety and visibility for you up there. That'd be potentially life-saving. As well as that, I've powered on as you've seen, I've powered on through the laptop the strobe effect. I think that is also a really good safety feature when you beep the horn in case somebody's cutting across you in a lane, combined with the Denali sound bomb. I mean, if they don't hear that sound bomb and see your light strobing, you know, they must be deaf, dumb and blind. They shouldn't be even driving a car. But as a combination, it's unbelievable. So I'm really delighted with them. Now, hopefully now when COVID goes, hopefully in the next few months and the season starts to kick off and with some better trips coming up, all of these things will start to come into play. And that's what I wanted to do, was to get the bike ready for the next season and have it good to go. So that's everything. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, you know, feel free to give us a shout. I'd just like to thank the lads down in Overlanders. You know, they did an absolutely phenomenal job. They really took care of me while I was down there. They've always got cakes and coffee on the go. It's to me, it's one of the best shops in the entire country if you're an adventure bike rider. They have everything, absolutely everything. So really thanks to all the guys down there. It was nice to talk to you when I was down there. He's really looked after me. So take care, talk to you soon, and safe riding.